Millions of viewers watch this moment. Seeds tossed into the summer air, pure joy, pure color. But the instant they hit soil, a biological war ignites. Fast roots poison slow neighbors. Nutrients vanish. And within 6 weeks, that dream garden becomes something far worse than bare dirt. Between 2024 and 2026, TikTok and YouTube feeds popularized this promise, led by a creator with 626,000 followers shaking seeds in a mason jar. The viral trend tells gardeners to relinquish control, scatter assorted seeds, step back, and see what happens. This is chaos gardening, broadcasting mixed seeds without spacing or planning. It is entirely distinct from ecological restoration. Now, a random scatter can produce a beautiful first bloom. Spontaneity itself is not the enemy. The danger begins when we ignore how dozens of species interact. To find the truth, we must track 3 specific paths: crowded chaos on raw dirt, random mixes on prepared soil, and a designed plant community. Once seeds hit the soil, a silent clock starts ticking. Under warm, moist conditions, fast-emerging species like marigolds sprout in 5 to 14 days. Poppies can follow a similar 7 to 14-day window, depending on the species and sowing depth. But for slower seeds buried too deep or trapped in dry soil, the race is over before it begins. By days 14 to 21, the early sprouters establish a leafy canopy. This priority effect allows the fastest plants to capture light, intercept moisture, and claim open space. As gardener Mary Snoddy observed, tall plants simply shade out the shorter ones. This early shading blocks out slower, beneficial plants, quietly reducing the diversity of the entire bed. The winners are chosen not by ecological balance, but by sheer speed. But the real war hasn't even started yet. Some plants secrete biochemical compounds directly into the rhizosphere. This chemical influence, known as allelopathy, can alter the germination and early growth of neighboring seedlings. These active compounds seep into the soil through living roots, fallen leaves, or decomposing plant material, where they interact with soil microbes. Sunflowers, fennel, and garlic mustard are particularly aggressive producers of these biochemicals, leaving nearby shallow-rooted seedlings at a severe disadvantage. Yet this is not a universal poison. Whether these compounds suppress a home garden depends entirely on complex variables: the specific species pairing, chemical concentration, soil texture, moisture levels, microbial activity, and exposure time. Laboratory-controlled inhibition rarely translates directly to the unpredictable backyard plot. Still, this invisible chemical footprint reshapes which plants survive. What happens underground next surprised even professional ecologists. By weeks 4 to 6, the crowded bed hits a brutal physical wall. Thousands of dense seedlings are locked in a desperate cage match for water, oxygen, and root space. But the most destructive battle is chemical. Plants need nitrogen to build leaves and phosphorus to transfer energy and develop roots. However, a major gap exists between the total nutrient inventory locked in the soil and the tiny fraction that is actually plant available. As this massive crowd grows, they rapidly draw down those immediately available nutrients. Some viral claims point to a 40% nutrient drop within 6 weeks, but soil scientists warn this exact figure depends on highly specific agricultural setups, not a random backyard flower mix. The qualitative reality, however, remains absolute. A finite underground reserve cannot feed an infinite, chaotic crowd. And this is the part every chaos gardening video leaves out. Those cheap wildflower packets scattered in viral videos are rarely an ecological free lunch. While a commercial mix can produce a gorgeous, nectar-rich bloom, it is not a native habitat. Regional extension services warn that generic mixes often contain aggressive, non-native species that can quickly crowd out local flora. This mismatch matters because of a stark biological division. Adult bees can sip nectar from almost any colorful flower, but their larvae are highly specialized. Specialist bee larvae depend entirely on the high-protein pollen of specific native host plants. Without those exact native species, the next generation of pollinators cannot survive. Non-native flowers have value as quick nectar sources, but they fail these evolutionary relationships entirely. Ultimately, beautiful flowers do not equal a functioning ecosystem, and chaos gardening is fundamentally distinct from genuine ecological restoration. If this is changing how you see your garden, there is so much more. Hit subscribe. 6 weeks in, the brief, brilliant burst of color vanishes. What remains is a silent graveyard of choked stems and yellowing leaves. Underneath, the soil looks utterly exhausted, gray and parched. Where vibrant blooms once promised a paradise, aggressive weeds now seize the gaps left by suffocating seedlings. The few surviving flowers stand weak and spindly, unable to hold their own weight. This is the quiet collapse of the unplanned mix, a sudden, brief explosion of petals that quickly decays into a stubborn, weed-dominated patch. Reclaiming this choked, root-knotted earth is often far more difficult and frustrating than starting fresh with bare soil. The beautiful viral illusion has cleared. Flowers did arrive, but the promised self-sustaining ecosystem never materialized. Pure randomness failed. Lasting biodiversity requires cooperation, not conflict. Working with nature requires shifting from scattering raw seeds to arranging cooperative relationships. A plant guild is a planned community where each species holds a specific role. Rather than competing, members share the soil through complementary root depths, coordinated growth rates, and staggered nutrient demands. The traditional Three Sisters model illustrates this mutual support. In this culturally specific, region-dependent indigenous agricultural system, corn provides vertical structure. Climbing beans scale the stalks, contributing nitrogen when supported by the right soil microbes. Meanwhile, squash vines spread across the surface, shading the earth to lower evaporation. This guided naturalism represents a low-maintenance approach that invites nature to take the lead, as championed by the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. By arranging these precise partnerships instead of relying on unmanaged density, gardeners establish a stable sanctuary. Research indicates these structured communities provide far more reliable resources for local pollinators than any random scatter, transforming the garden from a chaotic lottery into a living system. Creating this cooperative sanctuary requires simple, physical preparation. Loosening only the top 2 to 3 inches of soil protects the delicate structure from heavy tillage, while allowing you to clear out existing weed roots. Instead of burying a mixed packet at a uniform depth, place each seed according to its mature size, root depth, and growth rate. Keep the seed zone damp but unsaturated during the initial weeks of emergence. True progress is tracked through consistent soil testing for pH, organic matter, nitrogen, and phosphorus, alongside close observation of plant survival, weed cover, and pollinator visits. Success is not a fleeting flash of color, but a persistent, regionally appropriate plant community that functions together year after year. True biodiversity is designed, not accidental. In a changing climate, our soil deserves intention over chaos. Have you tried chaos gardening yourself? Tell me what happened in the comments below.